Hello and welcome to Monster of the Week. This week we are taking a look at a truly creepy creature. The Night Twist is a tree-like monster whose bite is much worse than its bark. And its bark is also pretty bad, to be honest. As always, my goal here today is to go over the Night Twist's in-game lore, its publication history, as well as provide you with updated 5th edition statistics for the monster and a few practical encounter ideas. But before we get into all that, I have a very exciting announcement to make. The Dungeon Dad YouTube channel is now officially official because we've got our first big sponsorship, baby! So thank you to Surfshark for bringing us here today to talk about this bizarre, twisted up tree monster. What is Surfshark? Allow me to explain.
Foolish adventurers, with my scrying magic, all will be revealed.
Let's just scrying on us again. This sucks.
Do not fret, my companions, for I have acquired a subscription to Surfshark VPN.
Surfshark VPN? What's that?
Surfshark VPN is the latest and greatest in scry-proofing technology. It's an application for the computer that protects your information, your identity, and ensures no one can see your data except for you. It can also be used on your phone or other mobile devices, and there is no limit on the number of devices you can have connected at once. That means your entire adventuring party can all share one Surfshark account and enjoy the security that Surfshark VPN brings. It also allows you to virtually change your location so you can access media from all over the multiverse without having to worry about region lockouts. The next season of the Great British Bake Off is as good as mine. It's also super affordable, and viewers of the Dungeon Dad channel can get an 83% discount when you sign up using the code DUNGEON. And you get 3 months free just for using the code in your trial, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. The discount code and a link to Surfshark are available in the description below, so consider checking it out.
No, that's not fair. How am I supposed to scry on them now?
So again, thank you Surfshark for bringing us here today to talk about this weird tree. Now without further ado, let's move on to the Night Twist. It's not very often that we see an exceptionally unique plant monster in Dungeons & Dragons. A lot of them tend to fall into one of 3 categories for me, the first of which I like to refer to as the dumb boys. They're the dangerous, unintelligent plants that pose a passive threat just by virtue of the fact that they exist. Plants in this category are going to be things like your yellow musk creepers and your assassin vines. Then you've got the fun guys, which are the myconids and other mushroom monsters. Most of them fall into the category of definitely sentient, but very weird and almost alien creatures. It is worth noting that some fun guys are also dumb boys, but for the most part, your fungus creatures do the same kind of stuff on a gradual scale of evil, ranging from passive shroom friends to I'm gonna infect your brain and make you do a murder. Lastly, you have the tree folks. The tree folks are your dryads, trents, and blights. They all kind of fulfill that role of people that are actually plants, and often have a degree of magic associated with them, but not always. So which of these 3 broad categories I completely made up does the Night Twist fall into? Well, all of them, sort of. It's a weird one because this tree monster behaves a lot more like some kind of fey being than a traditional plant-based monster, but more on that in a minute. The Night Twist made its one and only appearance in D&D's history as part of one of my personal favorite monster books, the Monster Manual 3 from 3rd edition. The Night Twist appears as a 15-foot tall tree with a thick, gnarled trunk. Its bark is a sickly deep purple color, and its limbs stretch out in all directions. Just looking at this thing is sure to give you some creepy, evil vibes, but the Night Twist is much more than just a scary looking tree. For starters, these trees are intelligent. They have an intelligence score of 12, which puts them slightly above your average person. They can also talk, but the book does specify that they rarely speak. So do with that what you will. One thing they do use their voice for, however, is to sing. I feel like this probably won't come as a surprise to most of you, but the songs sung by the creepy purple death tree aren't exactly top 40 material. It bellows forth something known as the despair song, which can be heard up to a mile away in all directions from the Night Twist. The Night Twist, truly living up to its name, only sings this song during the night, so as long as the sun is still in the sky, you're safe. However, once night falls, anyone who hears the song is forced to make a wisdom saving throw, lest they become charmed by the night twist. The song, of course, inspires dread and melancholy in all who hear it, but those who become charmed by the song are overwhelmed with a sense of despair. And this despair manifests itself in two major ways. For one, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. And secondly, the creature is compelled to seek out the source of the song, completely ignoring all other tasks and needs. Much like myself in middle school trying to catch a shiny Pokemon, the victim will not eat or sleep or otherwise be deterred until they are able to make their way to the night twist. So basically, this tree took the concept of the siren song and managed to make it so much worse. But wait, what if the victim's friends are able to stave off the song's effects and simply drag their pal away, you might be saying? And to that, I will say, unfortunately, this specific charm is much more powerful than you would think. Once the song has burrowed its way into the mind of a creature, there is no way to lift the compulsion short of using magic to break the curse. And if the creature is forcibly held away, every night that creature spends restrained, their maximum HP is reduced by 1d10, so eventually they will die. So unless the victim's friends have access to some very powerful magic, the only way to lift the curse is for them to seek out and destroy the night twist. See, when you're a tree with a 5-foot movement speed, it's much more effective to simply have your food come to you than to go out hunting for it yourself. Because once a creature actually gets close to the night twist, it is going to use a combination of spells and slam attacks to kill and maim its target so that it can dig those roots in and feast upon the corpse. Photosynthesis is for losers, am I right? But alas, in some cases the adventuring party might prove to be too much for the tree. After all, it has no way of knowing just who or what it is luring in with its song. So maybe the tree is destroyed and thus marks the end of the cursed tree's existence. Or does it? Obviously I'm leading up to something here. It doesn't mark the end of the cursed tree's existence, at least not really. In one final act of malice, when the twisted tree is felled, it bestows a curse upon whoever it is that dealt the killing blow. The creature who actually made the final attack is forced to make a wisdom save, and if they fail, they are stricken with the tree's death curse. This might not be readily apparent because there's no immediate effect, but you know something called the death curse isn't gonna be awesome. Once that creature goes to sleep or tries to meditate if they're an elf, they are racked with horrible visions and nightmares. This twists them up psychologically, causing 1d10 psychic damage, and the target is denied the benefits of a long rest. They also have to make a saving throw to avoid becoming exhausted. It's only a DC of 10, and if they pass that saving throw, that's all fine and dandy, but the next night, the DC to avoid the exhaustion goes up by 1 to 11, and then to 12, and so on and so forth. You can see where this is going. Eventually, the creature will die of exhaustion, and after 1 month, you'll never guess what happens to their body. In the place where they were buried, assuming the body wasn't incinerated or something, a new night twist will sprout from the ground. And once it reaches maturity, the nightmare begins anew. Fortunately, there is a cure. Simply casting Remove Curse on the target, believe it or not, will remove the curse. However, there's a little bit of a catch here because the spell must be cast on the creature while they are asleep and experiencing the nightmares. This is just a little added layer of mystery that I think makes this curse especially nefarious. Now, we still need to talk about encounter building and story ideas for the night twist, and there is a surprising amount we can do with this creature, I think. But first, I just want to say, if you find these videos helpful or just downright entertaining, please leave a like and a comment because that helps your boy out a ton. Tell me in the comment section what your favorite tree is. I'm sure there's no way that this will somehow turn into a heated internet debate. You know it will. And also the answer is redwood. I mean, come on. How'd a tree get that big? In any case, before we dig into storytelling ideas and plot hooks, I really want to examine what this dang old tree can do. So get your best lumber axe ready because it is time for... When it comes to the Night Twist's in-combat abilities, things are fairly straightforward. It clocks in at a challenge rating of 11, which puts it in that nice little sweet spot of being challenging for a mid-tier group of adventurers and a total boss for a lower level 5 to 7 crew. The Night Twist has a couple powerful slam attacks it can make each turn against anyone who dares get within 10 feet of it, so that means your frontline fighters are going to be taking a literal beating, and so will anyone charmed by the song that wanders too close to the tree. It is worth noting that once the Night Twist makes a slam attack against a creature who is charmed by the song, the charm is lifted, so that's nice. I guess it just needs to get you there. Once you're there, it can beat the shit out of you with its tree branches, that's all good. But the true danger of the Night Twist is its spells. It doesn't have a lot of them, but the ones it does have are pretty brutal. It has access to Blight, aka fuck all plants the spell. It's also got Entangle, which can be a real bitch to deal with in combat, and Darkness, which is a tough time to contend with for those who are just simply trying to make attack rolls. But the true icing on this tree cake is, of course, Phantasmal Killer. For those not in the know, Phantasmal Killer is a spell that causes 4d10 psychic damage to a creature every turn for 10 turns until they can successfully make their saving throw against the spell. That's already kind of rough, but against the Night Twist, it's especially heinous because if it targets a creature who is under the effects of its song, that creature has disadvantage on saving throws to resist the damage. And as long as the tree doesn't actually make a slam attack against them, it can just kind of let that individual get murdered by the spell while it slams and blights any other targets. So as you can see, the Night Twist definitely has some nasty tricks up its trunk, but it does also have two glaring weaknesses. For one, it's weak to fire damage. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a tree burning, but they burn pretty good, and the Night Twist is very much a tree. So it does have access to the Gust of Wind spell and the ability to cast it as part of its multi-attack, so at least if it does get set on fire, there's something it can do to put the flames out, but fire is scary. Secondly, it can barely move. A movement speed of 5 feet per round is devastatingly slow, and while it might be able to lure victims in, during combat, it's still a little bit scary to not be that mobile. I would highly recommend pairing the Night Twist with some other creatures that can sort of make up for that a little bit. Blights seem like the first and obvious choice, seeing as they are a cast of humanoid tree folk that are generally also pretty evil, so I think there's a pretty great fit there for an encounter. But I suppose talking about how we want to include other creatures is teetering on the edge of plot hooks, and there are a few exciting ideas I really want to talk about, so let's just move right along and explore a few. I love this creature. Just the implications of a Night Twist existing really got me thinking. I mean, just as a standalone thing, it can be a fine random encounter, just this weird tree growing out in the middle of nowhere if that's all it needs to be for your game. But what causes them to grow? We know that a lot of Night Twists are likely the result of someone else who was cursed by a Night Twist dying, right? So let's play out that entire scenario. There's a version of the Night Twist story where the adventurers hear the tree's call, they investigate it, destroy it, and one of them ends up cursed. The party then retreats to whatever small town happens to be nearby and fails to break that curse. So what do? They probably bury their deceased party member in the local cemetery. I'm sure they'll mourn the loss and then move on to the next town doing their adventuring thing, right? But then, a month later, a new Night Twist begins to grow, a little sapling sprouting up from the ground on top of the grave of this fallen adventurer. It might even go completely unnoticed as it starts to grow, and this time, it reaches maturity in the graveyard of this small town, and then proceeds to kill the entire population of peasants. We're assuming there's no one in this town who's going to be able to actually stand up to this thing or resist its call. So the next group of travelers that rolls through town just finds a ghost town, and there is now a mystery to solve. If they stick around until nightfall, they will then hear the tree's song, and that will likely lead to combat. But what a setup for an encounter. Just discovering this bizarre empty town in a strange gnarled purple tree. If you want to add an extra element to an encounter like this, maybe the tree has some kind of necromantic powers and was even able to raise the townsfolk as zombies after it feasted on their corpses. So as night falls, the party now has to deal with the effects of the song and a horde of zombies that are all embedded with roots as they attempt to make their way to cut down the tree. And if you wanted to throw this out as a plot hook towards some of your characters, maybe when they're at a tavern or an inn or something, resting up for the night, a deranged individual from that village who actually managed to escape the tree's song runs to them and tells them something's wrong and that everyone was going crazy in the village, and that will then lead them to go investigate. You could also go full-on Junji Ito a la splatter film, an extremely gory manga in which a tree beloved for its delicious sap kills anyone it catches trying to steal its lifeblood. I also loved the idea of someone deliberately cultivating a night twist, and I don't know about you, but I think that sounds exactly like something a hag would do. I mean, we literally have a type of hag called a night hag. So I don't think it's too much of a stretch to imagine that a night hag might also be growing a night twist. Honestly, that sounds like the setup to a great adventure to me. Hags are really fun villains to run as a dungeon master and also really fun to interact with as a player, and a night hag growing a night twist with a handful of blight minions has great potential to be something cool. But then of course we have to ask the question, why is she growing the night twist? Perhaps it's a gift to her coven mother, an even more powerful hag that will be very angry if one of her daughters is killed by some adventurers. Or perhaps it's part of her scheme to lure in wayward travelers, and before the tree can feast upon them, the night hag intercepts them for some nefarious purpose. It's worth noting that night twists are intelligent, so once it is fully grown, it could entirely work with a hag to enact complex schemes. Perhaps this hag is even trying to grow a network of night twists, all strategically placed 1 mile apart, creating a sort of ring of these trees around her home to act as an invisible barrier to any nosy individuals. The last thing I feel is worth mentioning here is in the original Monster entry, there is talk of an ancient night twist. A version of this tree that is so old and so large, their range and influence stretches much further. I mean, we're talking a tree that's thousands of years old here. To me, that evokes imagery of a haunted forest populated by ghosts and blights and all other sorts of nasty creatures with a colossal night twist at the center. A tree of that size would certainly be able to cast some much more powerful spells, and again, as an intelligent being, it might even hold a host of dark secrets within it. Forbidden knowledge of ages past that the tree has kept to itself. Perhaps an evil druid or some other kind of malignant entity is seeking the tree, and it falls to our heroes to find it and destroy it before it's too late. And who knows, maybe in the final hour, when the ancient night twist feels that the end is near, it offers the party a deal. Spare its life and it will impart knowledge to grant power the likes of which they have never seen. Chop it down and that knowledge is lost forever. Most will resist the urge, but not everybody. I sincerely hope you find a place for the night twist at some point during your storytelling career, because they are just so creepy and so much fun. If you do want to use this monster at the D&D table and you're not playing 3rd edition, but you are playing 5th edition, linked in the description down below, there is a Google document that will contain everything you need to successfully run this creature at the table. And if you are one of my lovely patrons, I actually have some very exciting news. In the past, as you know, I've been doing the 5th edition Monster Manual style stat blocks as a Patreon exclusive bonus, and I will continue to do so. But starting this week, the Patreon stat blocks are going to level up. As of now, everyone subscribed on Patreon at the $3 tier or above will have access to these incredible custom stat blocks formatted in the 5th edition style still, but with a wholly unique Dungeon Dad look and flair. But the visuals aren't the only thing changing going forward. The Patreon stat blocks are also going to be full-on PDFs, not just high-res images. I'm really excited to be bringing these stat blocks to the next level, and I would not be able to do it without the help of my friend Taryn, who is a graphic designer and D&D person extraordinaire. Taryn's actually a fellow D&D YouTuber who is better known as Indestructiboy, so I'll drop a link in the comments to his channel. Go show him some love and tell him Dungeon Dad sent you. I also wouldn't be able to do this without the help and support of all of you lovely patrons, so thank you for enabling me to make the stat blocks and all that stuff better. So if you are one of those aforementioned lovely patrons, you will be able to find this week's new fancy schmancy PDF stat block over there. And if you're not already a patron but you want to check it out, the link is also in the description below. Speaking of patrons, it is time for Patron of the Week. This week's randomly selected patron is Rooftop. Thank you so much for your support, Rooftop. I hope you don't have shingles, but if you do, at least you've got good coverage. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Until then.